I'm Rob. I make a lot of circles, whether it's drums, which are a circle, or a tube, or rims for drums. Right now I'm thinking of ways to do re-rings for a drum, which is a brace that goes inside the drum, a circle. And I had kind of an epiphany last night thinking about this, and this is a spur of the moment video on if I can make this work. If it does, great. If not, well, you'll never see this video, so I can quit talking about that. The epiphany was a camera shutter, basically, that shape, except I'm going to put a little notch on each spot here. So if I just had the basic shutter shape, then you put a clamp on the outside, it would collapse upon itself. And I'm trying to make this as simple as possible. I don't want to do a jig or a fancy clamping system. I just want to be able to put the pieces together, a strap around the outside, tighten it down, and I'm done. So if I have these little wedges or little edges to catch on, it should work. The more clamping pressure, the tighter it gets, the better the glue up is. So that's conceptually what I'm trying to do here. This should work good for me for a lot of things, but a lot of people do things like turning bowls, making wedges for all sorts of things. People see buying wedgie rings to do all sorts of things. I think this could be, if you have a CNC, this could be easier yet. So I'm going to do the quick design here. My circle I want to be 13.5 inches. And this shape has 6 wedges. I'm going to call them wedges. They're not wedges. I'm going to call them wedges. I'm going to do 8 because the more you get, the tighter the inside ring gets to the out one, the thinner the diameter gets to be. So I'm going to just copy some circles, 8 objects. So there we go. And I'm just going to do a straight line from dot to dot. So basically here to here to here to. So basically 2 big squares. In theory, to do this, you see that little bullseye pops up. That means you're centered. There we go. Okay, one is done. Now we'll do the second one. Okay, so that's done. Now I'm going to get rid of the circles that I put there on the outside edges because they're going to just get in the way when I start deleting things. So that's our very basic shape. I'm going to go ahead and make a copy of this and work off the copy. If I make a mistake, it's easier to go back that way instead of starting over. I'm going to use the scissors or what's a vector trim tool. I'm going to cut every other line. Okay, that is our basic shape right there. Now I have to build that notch that it's going to hook into. So my thoughts are there'll be a little pocket that's going to fit into, and because of my bit is a 1/4 inch bit that I'm cutting with, I can't make my rounded edge less than 0.25. I know a little bigger just in case. And so I'm going to use a 0.28 actually in the end, but first let's get the basic shape right there. So I'm going to hit node for node edit, insert point, and I want this point to be exactly where those two come together, which I think it probably was. And I'm going to add another point. And we'll dial that in a little more later. And there'll be some more points over here too. In fact, I'm going to undo that one real quick. I want this line to stay shaped because up here, that'll be the rounded edge. So I'm going to add another point right here. And now I'm going to bring that out. So notice this line is still parallel to where it was before. That looks good. So I'm going to insert a fillet, I'm not even sure where it is on that one, and right there. So that'll be what the shape goes into. Close that. Highlight. I'm hitting node for edit again. I'm going to bring this back down to right basically at that point. That's one edge. Now this These are two separate vectors. I've got to join those. So I'm going to actually get out the trim tool again. And that has joined those two together. I'm going to cut that one there too. So now, in theory, all I need to do is get the fillet tool, get that shape there, close. Let's delete this line here. That should be all I need. Pretty simple. We'll see if this is going to work now. So let's move this over here a little bit and let's make a ring. So I'm going to have that one. Do the second wedge. Rotate it 45 degrees. The circle is 360. And 360 divided by 8 wedges is 45. So now I got 2. Highlight these 2 and let's rotate 90 this time because I got, whoops. Let's make a copy first. Now let's do 90. And let's do copy and do 180. And ta-da, we have interlocking wedges now, or interlocking ring. I suppose if I was getting really fancy here, I would even go so far as to put a circle in the middle here and round these inside edges to be a perfect circle. If I was turning a bowl and I wanted as least cutting as possible, I'd probably do that. But I'm not going to worry about this today. This is a very short video. And I'm going to put these on the piece here. I was playing with designs earlier to get these to fit right on the wedge, on the piece of paper, or the paper, on the wood so that we can get the most out of it. So, oops. And there we go. That's the basic shape I got. Those are the same pieces. Let's go to tool paths. Well, first, let's see how big a piece of wood I'll actually need for this. We're looking at 29 by 5 at least. A little bigger than that, probably. So I have some excess. And let's head over to the side. All I'm going to do is highlight. I have the wood set for 1-inch thick wood. So a smidge ore to cut through. 25-inch end mill. I actually have changed whether I'm cutting things out nowadays. So I have a plunge rate of 100. That'll make sense in a second. It's a little more aggressive than most people do. And 0.125 thickness, so 8 passes it'll take. Close. And add tool path. So I mentioned I'm doing a spiral cut nowadays. Normally when you do a cut, it cuts, drops down, cuts, drops down, and cuts. Doing a spiral, it goes slowly down time after time. There's no edge where it starts a new layer. Kind of like a thread on a bolt. I'm getting a cleaner cut doing it that way. And it seems, I don't know, it works good. I like it, so I'm going to keep doing that. Let's go ahead and hit calculate and reset and preview. I join my pieces together, and there's no pieces of wood are going to go flying out. Well, maybe that little piece might come out, but I'm not too worried about that. Okay, it's time to save this and head out to the CNC. For the CNC work, I did not use my dust collection today, and it makes for better video, obviously, but boy, does it make a lot of dust. My system does quite well with my dust collection. You'll see by the end that you really can't even see the piece of wood. If you're eagle-eyed, you can see on the middle right-hand side of the board, there is a knot there. I tried to work around that. I actually cut 9 wedges instead of 8, and I was hoping that the knot would be one of those wedges. It ruined 2 of the wedges, so actually I did 2 more wedges off camera. So those of you who question that, you'll figure it out pretty quick what happened. What I'm using here is beech. I ended up with this several years ago. It is very rough cut. There are no clean sides on any edge. The thickness varies all the way through. The wood itself is very, very rough cut. But once you get into it, I really like working with beech. It carves very well, relatively hard, like hard maple. Doesn't chip. It just works really good on the CNC. So I do like it, even though it takes some more work in the end because there's no clean edges. When you're getting good chips, it's a sign that your feeds and speeds are dialed in correctly, and I'd have to say my feeds and speeds are looking good right now. For the glue up, I'm using my go-to favorite glue, which is Titebond 2. I'm going to put it on both sides of the spots where it makes contact. And I always put probably more glue than most people do. It's going to leak out some. Oh well, not a big deal. I'm sure I could save a little bit by not using quite so much, but in the end, glue is not that expensive. Did the one side, now I'll do the other side. And also make sure I get inside that joint where I make contact the clamping pressure is. Once assembled, I will use my belt clamp to put pressure on it. I use the belt clamps for drums all the time, so I use this quite a bit actually. You can see it all fits together quite well, kind of like a puzzle. For the belt clamp, I'll wrap it around the cylinder and I will manually pull it as tight as I can. And then once I feel it's relatively snug, then I can use the screw to start putting a lot more pressure on. It's like a ratchet clamp in some ways, but a lot more fine tuning, and I really like these things. They've worked well for me for making drums. A normal drum will put 3 straps around, not just one like this, of course. A lot of adjusting. I'm trying to make sure everything's even, though since this is rough cut wood and they're not the same thickness, it's an impossible task in the end. And here's a better still shot of it clamped up with the belt clamp. Normally I end a video with a glamour shot of a beautiful piece of wood or a drum or whatnot. I mentioned this is rough cut wood and I didn't spend a lot of time cleaning it up, and maybe I will eventually for these re-rings I might use this for, but you get the idea. The joint's good, it's a good glue up. It took me only a few minutes to design this and put it together. This has real potential for me for the future for making everything from drums to rims to re-rings to maybe other things. So if you found this at all useful, please like, subscribe, and we'll see you later. Have a good day. But wait, there's more. After completing the video, it's totally done, ready to publish, I decided to see how hard would it be to actually make this a perfect circle inside too. So what the heck? We're going to do that real quick as an addendum to the video. I'm trying to find the dead center of the circle right now. I got outside points there. So that's going to be the center. Get a circle here, and we're just going to expand it till it's about right. Actually, let's see what 10 looks like. That's what I want, 10 inches. Close. And we're going to concentrate, say, on this one right here. So notice there's 2 vectors right here and 2 right there. So we got to be careful not to combine those into one overlap. That would be a bad thing. So I'm going to hit Node Edit, and I want to steal this one little section of that piece, a puzzle piece we're going to call it. So hit Node Edit, and I'm going to cut it right there at that joint. Cut. And let's do the same thing, just anywhere out here. So Node, cut. Just delete that one now. And if you hear in the background, the dog lost her ball, and she's crying about it now, but I'm not going to worry about it too much right now. If I delete this one, delete there, get out the scissors here. I'm going to cut that part there, that part there, there. Okay, that's all I need to make a circle. So let's do the same thing we did before. Let's copy this over here and piece that out. So copy it once, rotate 45, and drag and drop till it matches up. Let's copy that. Do 90 degrees. And copy again and do 180. And there we go. Now we have a perfect circle inside and outside. And I was playing with a little bit also. I did this once before already. Since this is the outside edge, I figured cutting with the grain right there would be the most efficient way to cut it, so there'd be less end grain facing out. And actually, this fits together really good. So if I was going to cut this out, that would only take, oops, it's less than 25 by 4 inches. So a little less wood taken up by arranging it that way. Okay, so that's it. The real end of the video. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later.